Hi, welcome to Los Alamos, California. My name is Hannah, and today I'm joined by Mia Mormino. Thanks so much for being here. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great. How
Amazing.
are you?
I am doing so well, and I'm so excited that you're here. So for anybody who doesn't know, we found each other through TikTok, right?
Oh my God. Yes, we did.
So I think I had just moved into this apartment, which is right by Crypto, and that's where you were,
Oh
right?
my God. That's literally where I'm like trying to go back all the steps, you know, and,
I know.
and backtracking. But yeah, that's literally, you saw me because of my TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You heard your song playing at a Kings game?
Kings game.
Yeah. And I was like, this girl looks so nice and so fun. And I love this song. And I just DM'd you and was like, hey, if you ever want somebody to take some pictures, hit me up. Here's my number, which was like so strange, but it worked because you did.
I literally did. Because honestly, like just off of your vibe, I was like, okay, yes,
I can do this.
I totally I felt like I was like, all right, I know you, I trust you. You're not, like some like creepy person.
I know. That's how I felt. I was like, I'm not a threat.
No, oh my God, no.
Oh my God. Well, thanks for trusting me
and
for having me at that Roxy show. That was pretty insane, and we'll talk about that because that was a really cool show. But for any of our listeners who aren't familiar with you or your music, tell us a little bit just about you and what kind of music you make and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So I make pop music, but I would say it's a little edgier, a little darker, sort of.
Yeah, it is. Totally.
It's really just like a collection. I feel like every part of my personality, it's perfectly put into my music, and I have a lot of different parts within me and different characters and ideas that I like to portray and see out. So putting it in my music, like each song is always a little bit different than the one before.
Totally.
Because I'm not always like dark, edgy Mia. I'm also like fairy princess Mia too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
so I
definitely
want music that showcases that side of me as well. But I mean, all my music I think still sounds like me, but it's just kind of like a variety show.
No, it really is. And like your music is so like theatrical, which I love, and some of it sounds like you're at like a jazz club and it's raining, and then other ones sound like you're in like a movie, like in a war. Like it's really cool. And I feel like you've been making music for a while, and you can really see just like the changes and like the growth that you've gone through as a person, but also you can see that it's not like linear. It's not always like, it's getting better and better. Like there's dips, and it's like, okay, just kidding, life is kind of hard. And I really like that about your music because it's so authentic, and it's like, I don't know. I feel like when music is always like super positive and super like, I'm the best, it's like, well, this isn't relatable because that's not how I feel, and nobody feels like that. And I like that about your music. It's very authentic and very like raw. I really love that about you and your music.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That means so much to me. Yeah, it's like I feel like there's enough facade in the world and online that I'm like, I don't feel that I need, nor do I want to be another one of those pop singers that's like, my life is perfect and I have everything going for me and I don't get a track. Like, I'm like, okay, but life also is like really hard sometimes.
Yeah,
so
it is.
that is what makes the whole picture. So whether it's my music or what I post online, like I really just showcase myself because I'm like, I know that when I was younger, I could have used more people that were like, hey, this is also like
totally
what goes on behind the scenes that you don't see. And even that, it's not all that you don't see, you know?
Yeah.
So thank you. I'm happy that it registers and that it makes sense.
It totally does. And you're right. Like even on socials, I feel like you're really like good about being like, here's all the really cool things I'm doing, but also like, here's what happened in between. And like, if you feel like your life isn't always like super positive, like nobody's is, and that's totally normal. Exactly. And like, it doesn't mean that you can't also be super happy and successful as well. And I think you just have a really good presence on socials, and it's really real. And I love it, especially because a lot of like musicians have like a whole team doing their socials, and it's super like commercial, and it's just like one post on the grid that's like, here's a cover shoot, and then you never see them again. And I really like that you are super just like interactive with your fans and and I don't know, I think it just makes you just that much more relatable and real. So I really love that, of course.
Thank you.
And how did you get your start? Like, do you remember your first performance or like the first moment that you were like, I want to make music, whether it was like a song or like a specific person that inspired that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, music has always been a part of my life from as far back as I can remember. And I grew up dancing and competitively dancing and the whole dance team and studio and all that kind of stuff, which I loved, and I wanted to be a professional dancer.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Cool.
like that was my in like 5th grade. I was like, I'm gonna go to Juilliard. Like, I'm going to Juilliard.
Yeah.
And I was like, me now. I'm like, girl, no, you were not.
One can dream.
No, you were not. But okay. But I also loved to sing, and I would sing in all the talent shows and the musicals and the choir, like all that kind of stuff. And I didn't care like what other people thought of me in like elementary school and stuff. And I just did whatever I wanted, and I sang Lady Gaga songs in my talent shows and all that. And even though it wasn't maybe a fan favorite from some of the other teachers and stuff, I didn't care, because I was like, I'm living my best life right now, and no one could stop me. So it was always, music and singing has always been such a huge part of my life, and something that I've always loved to do. And I went back and forth being like, okay, I want to be a professional singer. No, I think I want to be a dancer. No, I want to be a singer. And then after high school, I went through like some like, you know, first relationship stuff. And I was like, okay, I'm too afraid to speak up about it and confront the people. So I'm just going to write a song about it instead. Cause I'm like, I'm just singing a song. Like, you can't be mad at me. Yeah. You know? So I wrote my first song. It's called Conflicted. And that really was like the start of it. Like I really used, and still do use, music as my way of like standing up for myself. Yeah. Because outside of music, that's always been a struggle, and just speaking up and you know, saying when something, you don't like something, like that's not something that I've really ever done. Totally. So I would use my music as a way to be like, okay, I can't keep this in any longer, but I refuse to talk about it, so I'm going to sing about it instead. But now, as I've gotten older and therapy, and all that like stuff, I've realized that, you know, there is a way to do both, and I feel like has made my music even stronger, because I'm like, okay, I know I'm finding my own voice outside of music, so now within music, it's going to make it that much better. You know? But as far as like inspiration goes, Lady Gaga was my I would have died for that woman in 5th grade.
Oh my God, same.
Like, I mean, and I honestly, maybe not would have died for her, but honestly, in 5th grade, I probably would have. But I loved her. I loved everything she was, everything she stand for. I was made fun of for loving her by my other like classmates and stuff. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I know. Literally leave me alone. Like, I'm not doing anything to hurt you. But yeah, she has always been like consistently one of my biggest inspirations. She's just everything. She's so unapologetically herself, and I felt like I was always a little bit different in school and stood out a little bit and didn't really fit in with one clique or group. Like, I was kind of a floater kid because I loved my own little things in my own little worlds, and she just made me feel like that was all okay. So that really like that helped me to feel comfortable with myself and expressing myself in all the different ways that a 10-year-old would, you know? And so, and still to this day. So yeah,
I totally agree. I was a little monster as well my whole life. Like, and it's true, like people were like, she's so weird, blah, blah. And I'm like, she's literally like the coolest person ever.
Like, she's different. She isn't like cookie cutter pop star, but isn't that more exciting?
Right. How boring would it be if nobody was like Lady Gaga? She was such a trailblazer too. I feel like so many artists have kind of like taken pieces from her and been like, oh, this worked for her. But for a while, you know, it didn't. Like people like really did not like her. And it just goes to show that, you know, you just have to keep going with what you like and what feels correct. But was there a specific, I feel like I might know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask a specific, like either song or like performance from Lady Gaga that like really hooked you when you were younger?
I mean, there was a song and performance that hooked me, but not in a good way, I would say. Okay. Like she sang, I think she sang Hair her song Hair, at some like Teen Choice Awards or something.
Was it the one with the wigs?
I think so, but she was playing the piano and it was dedicated to like a little 7th grader who committed suicide.
Oh, okay.
And I had never like I didn't know what that was at the time, and that's how I like found out what that whole what that was about. So I like really struggled with that and fell into my own thoughts and stuff in elementary school and middle school. So she how am I trying to say it? There's a lot of like things that I connect with her. Yeah. Good and also like totally not so good. You know? But it just made me feel that much like more attached to her because I'm like, oh my god, I know all these new things and feelings because of you and like all this stuff. So that definitely was one of them. But I mean, like Poker Face, like Just Dance, all those songs, like all the music videos. I was like, oh my god, it's everything I've ever wanted to be. Yes, and her
music videos. I remember the Just Dance video. I would watch that just like on a loop because I just had never seen anything like it, and just like the party looked so fun because we were little. I was like, I've never been to a party.
I know. I'm like, I want to be old. I want to be grown up, and now I'm like, no, I don't.
Never mind. I'm kidding. Go back. Yeah, she's honestly so iconic, and I can see so much of like the inspiration like in you and like your performances and just your music and everything. It's really cool, and that's probably why I love your music so much, because I love Lady Gaga, but of course you have like totally your own thing going. But yeah, I think that's really cool. And you even sang you sang Poker Face. Yes. It was that very iconic rendition that she did, and that just like blew my mind because I'd never seen anybody do that. So that was really cool. Didn't you sing that at a talent show, and didn't you get in trouble?
It was my 5th grade talent show, and funny enough, like I sing at an Italian restaurant every weekend.
Oh,
like,
okay,
for
cool.
a couple hours, just like background jazzy vibes. Yeah, and it's right in my area where I grew up. And this guy and his son came in, and I knew the guy because he'd come in before, but I didn't recognize the son. And he like came up to me and he's like, "You're Mia, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, he's like, "Did you go to like our elementary school?" And I was like, yeah. I was like, wait, what's your name? And he told me his name, and I instantly remembered him, but him when he was in 4th grade, not him as like a 20-something-year-old. And he's like, yeah, you know, my friends and I still talk about when you sang Lady Gaga Poker Face in 5th grade. And he's like, you were in 5th grade, I was in 4th grade. We thought it was so cool because we loved Lady Gaga. Aww. And I was like, what? I was like, so oh my cool, god, it was so cool. That was literally this past Sunday, and I was like, this is amazing. I mean, I'm so happy it made an impact. I don't know, like, that was awesome. But yeah, so that song and that performance, like, I felt like the coolest, baddest, sexiest little 5th grader in the world. I was like, oh my god, all my crushes are probably like, who is that?
They probably were.
They're probably like, what the fuck is going on with Mia? But I didn't care. I loved it.
Either they get it or they don't.
Exactly. I was like, I'm doing this for me and me only. So
yeah, exactly. And I think that's like, you do that a lot. That's kind of like the vibe I get from your music. I think you even have a song where you're like, this is for me, not you. And I love that, because that's kind of like how I aspire, and a lot of people should. And I think it's hard for a lot of like women especially to like get into that mindset, just because of the way that society has kind of like formed our poor brains.
Of course.
And I think you've really figured it out, and I love that you use your music to promote that message of like, you should like want to feel, you know, sexy or like healthy or whatever, but for you, not so that you can like be in a relationship or this or that. Like, just do it for you. And I think you have really like mastered that message, and I really appreciate that. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
And another kind of question for you is kind of in the same vein. What would you say is your like advice for anybody who's looking to get into music or is having that moment of like, oh my gosh, like I think I really want to do this? Like, what would you want to tell those people?
I would say, honestly, like, just do it. I know there's a lot of things that can and probably will hold you back, whether it's financially or parent support or going off the beaten path. Like, it's hard, but it feels so good to love what you're doing. Like, I didn't go to college. I knew that it wasn't for me. And like senior year, when all my friends were, you know, standing with their like college posters and t-shirts, I felt miserable because I was like, like, this is, this is upsetting me because I'm not a part of this, but I know it is not for me.
Good for you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So I started music, and now when I talk to those people or run into people from high school and stuff, and they're like, yeah, like I hate my job right now. Like I hate it. Like it sucks. Like I'm working blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm so thankful that I love what I do. And it's really fucking hard. And there's so many moments where I'm like, man, this would be a lot easier if I just wanted to be like, go down the traditional path of college, then job. And that's kind of it, you know? And that has its own challenges and difficulties too. But it's so worth it. It's so worth it to just do it and to follow your dreams, because you never know what can happen. And I'd rather live a life of hard work but loving what I do than just kind of like coasting but being miserable. You know? So, yeah, I would say just do it, and if it's supposed to happen, it will. But you have to like put in the work towards it too. You know. Yeah. But I love it. It's so fun. It's so hard. It is so hard. Oh my God.
I bet I can't even imagine like the amount of time. I feel like you're always like working on something. Like every time you post, you're either like in the studio, at a shoot, at a rehearsal. I'm just like, when do you sleep?
I don't. You don't.
Oh my gosh. No, but that is great advice. And I think it is really important to, you know, make it clear like college is not for everybody. It's not the one route to success. Like I went to college and I'm always like, why did I do that? Like it low-key didn't really get me to where I thought I wanted to be. So yeah, just follow the path that feels correct. And I'm glad you did that. And so let's talk about that Roxy performance. What was that like? First of all, that crowd was massive.
Thank you.
And I remember rolling out of there and being like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I'm going to go home. And you were out on the sidewalk with like 1 billion fans. And I was like, what? Oh my, it was just like nuts. Like, what was it like leading up and like preparing for that?
Yeah, that show was probably the most stressful thing that I have done in my career. Yet, honestly. There were just a lot of curveballs that I really wasn't anticipating, and not even about the show, but more just like you never know like how people are behind the scenes sometimes, and it's hard to communicate when there isn't much communication going on, you know?
Right.
And so it was a lot of me speaking up and standing up for myself, which was great. And I'm really glad that I did it. But I was like, fuck, this was not supposed to be what I was going to do. Like, I just wanted to go sing and, you know, do my thing.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
That's how it should be, you know? So it was great and it was so fun, but it really was stressful. Like, there were a lot of moving parts, and I wanted string quartet on stage with me too, and I've never done that before. So me and Caro, my musical director, we were like, how the hell do we make sheet music for strings? Like, we don't know how to do this. Like, like what? So it was just a whole bunch of trial and error, but it was so worth it. It was so worth it. And that was the biggest crowd I've ever sang for. And it, like, I don't have a label or management or PR or anything like that. So all that I have achieved is because I do it myself. So every person that was in there is because I individually asked them to come, not because I sent out a mass text or had like, you know, someone do it for me sort of thing. So there was just so many different things, and rhinestoning my costume and my band's costumes.
I was gonna ask. Like, that outfit was nuts. So you did that?
I did the skirt and some of the top piece, because I bought it like rhinestone, but it had like swirls like around my nipples, and I was like,
maybe not.
Maybe not for this one. So I did that, but it just was like another thing where I was like, I have to do this.
Oh yeah, and rhinestoning takes forever.
Oh my God, it's like so meticulous, but I kind of like it. It's like therapeutic.
Okay, good.
But I mean, that show was so fun, and I had my own sound engineer this time, and my own merch that I like had custom created and merch for you guys. She's rocking right now. It says me and Mormino crew on the back. Cool. But yeah, it was so fun. And then afterwards, getting off stage and seeing all those people, because they were like, all right, everyone needs to get out. Like, they're really strict about timing, which is amazing, because I went on stage at like early, which has never happened in the history of shows for me. So at the end they were like, all right, we have to get everyone out. So I was like, all right, everyone, we're going outside. And I didn't realize how many people were
crazy.
there.
I should have taken a picture. I was like,
yeah, it was wild. It was like a whole other show.
Yeah.
After the show. And my face was like cemented in a smile because I was so happy, but I was like, oh my God, I don't know what is going, like, it felt like a dream. Almost, but it was so fun. There were these 2 girls that drove from Vegas that morning to go to the show and were leaving the next morning. They literally drove from a different state, and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's always a crazy moment. It's like, oh, like people like actually know me.
Like, and you wanted to see me sing. Like you drove hours to see me sing. Like that just blows my mind. But it was such a special show and so exciting and fulfilling and exhausting. But it was all of it is so worth it because when I'm on that stage, it all goes away. I'm just like, this is why I put all these hours in and had mental breakdowns over it. You know, it's because I love this shit. I love it. There's just no better feeling. So it was amazing.
Yeah, that was an iconic show, and I it just was nuts to see like the people that were so excited, and you had like family and stuff there too. Like I feel like you have a really, really solid group of people around you, and it was really cool to kind of see that. Like I loved how you literally made us like little crew shirts and stuff. I was like, this girl really like knows how to like, I don't know, just like thank the people. Like you're super just like gracious to everybody, which I think is so important, and sometimes like kind of goes like missed, you know, like when it's super chaotic like you said it was, like you still took so much time to like reach out to all of us like in like a group chat and stuff, like which sometimes I'll roll up to shows that I'm working at and I will be like, what time does it start? Where is everyone? What am I supposed to do? But I really like appreciated that, and I think that's just such a special thing about you. You're just like so professional, even though I had no idea that it was a chaotic lead up. But yeah, what a great show, and thanks for having me at that one. By the way,
of course, thank you.
Yeah, and what are some of like your favorite shows that you've been to, maybe in like the last couple months or like year or so, that like really were special for you?
I would say the first one that comes to mind is I saw Halsey at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh,
and
that's so
Hollywood
cool.
Bowl is like, when I perform at the Hollywood Bowl, that will be like, I made it. Like that is like my like benchmark moment of like, okay, I made it, and I don't have to worry about like, oh, will I ever make it? Like, cause that is it. That venue is just so beautiful in so many ways. But I saw her perform there and she was fantastic. Like I cried. I was like, I'm a woman. I feel so strong as a woman. Like all this stuff, like all the feelings. And so that was incredible. I saw Ray at the Troubadour, and she's phenomenal. Like just her voice is off the charts. So that was an incredible show. I'm trying to think of who else that I saw.
Or even any like music or like albums that have been kind of like top picks for you recently.
Ooh.
I know it's a hard one. I always have to pull up like my Spotify. I'm like,
I know, me too. I'm always like, what do I listen to? I'm like, I listen to music every day of my life, but I'm like, now that you ask me, I don't know a single artist.
That's a hard one.
No. But Ray, her album, My 21st Century Blues, that album was my Spotify Wrapped #1 album. My top 5 Spotify Wrapped songs were 5 songs from that album. She was my top artist. Like, holy shit, man. And she's so jazzy and bluesy and like it's so, that's such a part of me, that era and that side of things. So seeing a new artist really tap into that, I was like, finally, yes, more for the jazz girls.
For real, yeah. You're like, I can't do this all by myself. My back hurts. Come on.
I'm like, give me some scatting, give me some weird chords. Like, I want it, you know?
I feel like your music has some of the most just like insane chord progressions, and I love it. It's like just like these like crazy like minor I'm like, yeah, I love it. I love it so much about your music, and I love to see more of it though. That's awesome. I'll have to listen to the album because I have not.
Oh, it's so good. It made me cry. I listened to it skiing the first time, and I was on the chairlift crying, and I was like, it's just so good. She's so good.
Wow.
So,
what an experience. What a way to like listen to an album.
Oh my God. I was like flying down a mountain, like tears running down my face. I was like,
God.
this is my world. Like,
this is the female experience right here.
Seriously.
I love that. That's super cool.
Thank you.
And this one, I like to ask this one. It doesn't have to be a negative thing, so I'll just preface it with that, because the last guys I asked this to, they started all screaming. But what is like a controversial like opinion that you have in music, like about music? It doesn't have to be a person or anything, but just something that you feel people might be like, oh, like surprised by. I know they were like, they made me answer it, and I was like, I don't really want to say it, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, honestly, something that I feel strongly about, like, you don't have to, and maybe I'm just not at that point where that's like something that I've never been asked to do this, but I've been kind of nudged to do it. Yeah. But you don't have to like strip everything to make it in the music industry. Yeah. I could be totally wrong about that, and maybe I'm just not at that point yet, which I'm probably not. But at least for me, that's something that like I don't ever want to conform, and I don't think you have to.
I think you're totally right. And it is always like kind of a bummer to like, if you see an artist that you're like, oh, I really like them, and you go look back at their old stuff and you're like, oh, like they used to be
themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. And I think, when large sums of money and fame and success get thrown into the picture, I mean, there's a lot that I would do, honestly, for that.
It's hard.
But I also would like to think that in those moments I still would stay true to who I am, and that I hope that there comes a time where you don't have to like give it all, show it all to have your dreams come true, because there are people that have reached a lot of success that haven't done that. And if you want to do it, like, go for it. Like, I like showing skin when I want to show skin, but it's when I want to. It's not because I'm like being told to.
Yeah, like this is what they told me I have to do in order to get to this next step, so I guess I'll do it. It's like you should be like, hey, maybe I do this for the next one. What do we think? It should be a you thing. Totally.
Yeah. So if maybe that'll extend my time in this like growing up and coming period, but I would rather have it take a little bit longer, knowing that I never like gave up on what I believed in, and just conformed for the sake of my ego.
Yeah.
So
completely.
Yeah. So I would say that, but I'm probably wrong. You probably do have to like give everything that you ever have worked for. So but
I think you're right. And I also feel like the more that we talk about it, it's, only going to hopefully get better and better. Yeah. Because I do feel like there was definitely like a time in music where everybody was like, whatever it takes. And there's definitely a lot of that still, but I feel that slowly but surely, like, people are starting to stand up and be like, no, like I should be able to make my money off of my music and not like my body.
Exactly. Unless you want to. Yeah. I'm like, F it. I mean, if I do whatever, as long as you're not hurting anyone or yourself, like, I support it all. Whatever you want to do, go for it. But just doing it because you feel like you have to, or you're following the trend, or like, that's where I'm like, no, but I really feel like there's a way. It may take longer, but there's definitely a way. Yeah.
And isn't it crazy that like this is even like a conversation?
I know. I'm like,
what?
I'm like, there is a way to not to have self-respect and not just give up all your rights to be successful. I'm like, what the fuck am
right?
Is
that? And then it's like, what the hell are we talking about?
What did I just say?
I know. It's nuts.
Yeah.
It is nuts, but you're completely right. And I wouldn't even call it it's not controversial, but it is just to the people who disagree. And those people can take a lap. All right. So you have some new music coming out very, very soon.
Yes.
I'd love to hear about, the song, the process of, writing the lyrics, what your inspirations were, and, the recording. I love it all. Like, there's no detail that is boring or like lame to me. So let's just dive into it.
Yeah. So my new song that's coming out, it's called A Girl's World. And it basically stems from what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
I have been told so many times, you need to show more skin. You have to conform. You shouldn't wear that when you sing. You shouldn't talk so much when you sing. Like, I won't name names, but I could. I could. But I've been told these things, and unfortunately, they've all been men.
Wow.
Who have told them to me. I know. And I'm like, I love men. Like, I love my dad. I love my boyfriend. Like, I have guy friends, but and I've been given like weird advice from girls, but it's nothing like that. It's just so naive and shallow, because I'm like, unless you are a woman pursuing a career in pop music, anything you tell me, how am I supposed to believe you when
what do you know?
When you're working an office job? Nothing wrong with it, but it's like, you have no idea what it's like to be a woman, first of all, and to be a woman in an industry that's dominated by men who suggest and push you to do things you don't really want to do. So the whole song is because of that, and it's just me like kind of talking my shit and kind of going back to what we were saying, like, speaking up is always a work in progress for me. So in those instances where I've been told, show more skin, you should conform, like all this stuff, I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, for sure, because I'm just scared to be like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to listen to you. So this song is really about that. And it's like standing up for myself and for anyone that has been told or been given unsolicited advice, because that there's nothing that pisses me off more than someone doing that when they have absolutely nothing to back it up. Like, I'm not telling my dentist how to clean my fucking teeth.
Right. Yeah.
So why are you telling me what I should wear on stage? Like,
it's my show.
It's my show. Like, why would I listen to you? Why? And it's one thing to give advice or be like, oh, I really liked when you did that. Like, that would be cool if next time you tried this. Totally different thing. But when you're telling me flat, like straight up, like, you really shouldn't like wear that t-shirt thing. And I'm like, why? Because it's not enough skin for you? Like, what do you want me to wear? Nothing? Like, I'm sure you would.
But then if you did, they would have something to say.
Exactly.
About it, so.
There's no pleasing. And that's what's so mind-boggling about it. So this song is me just being like, all of that. Because there's no way I could please everyone. I'm going to please nobody but myself. And if you like it, that's great. And if you don't, I don't care. You know? So this song is very like anthem-y, and it's just so fun. Like, it just makes me feel like confident, and that my music showcases all sides of me, and lack of confidence is a side of me. But this song really like boosts my confidence. I'm like, okay, I can do this. Like, don't talk to me like that. Like, I can do this. I know what I'm doing. I don't need to play dumb anymore to like fulfill or stroke your ego. Like, I have knowledge in what I'm saying and in the actions that I'm taking. So whatever you tell me, I thank you, but don't expect me to listen, because why would I when you're not doing this exact job?
Like, so. Where are you getting this idea from? Just like your own
like
brain?
Fantasy?
Like take it outside. Take a lap. It's just I completely get that. And there's also something to be said about, like, I know people are always like, well, just stand up for yourself, but it's like, it's, first of all, it's hard.
It's hard.
All, like, you don't know like the risk of saying no. It's like, well, what if I say no and then they tell people don't work with this girl?
Exactly.
It's like, where is the line? Where am I allowed to say no? It's hard.
It's so hard. And it should be all situations where I can say like, oh, I didn't appreciate that. And it would be great if every time it would be like, oh, thank you for telling me. Like, I won't say it again. But more often than not, I think it's used against you, and then they get defensive. Someone gets defensive because you're telling them something they don't want to hear, and they feel threatened. So what are they going to do? Try and retaliate and hurt you more. So I'm like, oh, this is so hard. Like, I just want some respect, please. Like,
wouldn't that be so nice?
Just a little bit.
Especially like, because this is a job. Like, I feel like in these types of like creative jobs, the lines are so like, because there's no like HR. They're just like, I can say that.
Yeah.
What are you going to do? It's the entertainment world. It's like, well,
it's like, yeah, no. But also that doesn't give you fair game, you know? So yeah, but I love this song. I think it's so fun. I think other people will like it. It's very catchy.
It is. I remembered it. I literally was like, oh yeah, I've heard this. I know this. It's so good. Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun. And I'm just excited for this like kind of new confident era for myself. Like last year was a lot of my dark songs and sad songs, because the year before that was like worst year of my entire life mentally. So last year I was releasing sad music, but I was making a lot of fun music because I was in a really great place. So this year it's like all fun, upbeat, confident, like dancey, but not like dance music, I guess. I don't know. It's just like fun music. It's fun.
So good. Yeah, it's gonna be a great year, and you know, there's always the ups and the downs,
of
and
course.
We love them all. I love your like darker, sadder music, because I'm like, haha, me. But then I also love like the upbeat stuff, because also I'm like, yeah, that's me too. You know, we do it all.
We do it all.
Awesome. And when is this one coming out?
This one comes out February 2nd.
Awesome.
So a few weeks.
Right around the corner.
I know. So
yay.
excited.
Everybody get ready, because just in time for, I mean, I feel like it's already spring. I'm like, the sun's out.
I know, me
I want
too.
to listen to upbeat music and I want to jump up and down, but it's like literally January.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, time to tan. I'm like, no.
I literally every weekend have been like, I think I should go to the beach. And I remember, no,
I'm like, oh, it's
cold.
frigid.
It's definitely outside. A little bit chilly. Well, that's very exciting.
Thank you.
Everybody be on the lookout for that one. And what else do you have coming up in like the horizon?
Yeah. So with this song, I have a music video coming out, and it's so fun. It's so fun. Oh my God. I just love it. It is, I'm dancing in it, which I haven't really like danced in a video before, like technical kind of, dance. And this is like more hip hoppy, like sassy vibes.
Cool.
But it's so fun. It's so fun, and I don't want to like say too much about it, but it's really exciting, and a lot of work went into it, and like, you know, well, okay, whatever. So basically, it's like a press conference, and I have like my girls, my backup dancer girl group, and we're all like waiting at the press table, and the press is pissed off because I'm taking too long to get there and stuff, and so they're all rolling their eyes, and all my girls are like just popping off and like not a care in the world, and they're just amazing. They were so good on set. And then I come, and then I say the first line of the song, and then it just wreaks havoc, and everyone's like so like as if I said the most craziest thing ever, but I'm really just saying like, I just don't want to listen to your opinions sort of thing. And so then I just am like talking my shit, and then some of the audience press members don't like it, and they chase us to a different location, and then we fight back, and it's just it's so fun. It's so fun, and it's girly, but it's like grungy girly. Like I could have gone girly route with bows and pink, and there are little elements of that thrown in, but it's more about the message, less about like frills and lacy and stuff, which I obviously love, but I was like, let's do a different take on it being a girls' world. Let's be like girls who like work fucking hard world.
Girls who will kick your ass.
Yeah.
I love that. That's gonna be so sick. I can't wait to see it. I love music videos, and I feel like there was like kind of like a dip. Like I feel like when we were younger, music videos were like the thing, and then they kind of were like, meh. I feel like they're kind of coming back, and that makes me so happy, because they can like make or break the song for me.
Oh my God,
sometimes.
it will change my entire opinion on a song if it has a good music video, and vice versa if it has a bad music video. Like they're so fun, and I know that like short form content is so big right now, and vertical content is so big and important, which but I just feel like no TikTok video will ever compare to the feeling that certain music videos give me. And I just love them, and I love visuals and storytelling and all of that. So even if they're like not a thing as much anymore, I don't think, as long as I can pay for them, I don't think I'll ever stop doing them, because they're so fun, and it's so fun. And I love to direct, and I love producing them, and set designing and scouting and all that kind of stuff. Like it takes a lot of work, but I love doing it because the final product, I'm like, yes, I did that. Like those pearls in that jacket I sewed. I taught myself how to sew for this music video. Like
oh my
all
God.
this stuff. So
that's crazy. So you directed and produced this one? That's awesome. And do you do that for all of your videos or for all of them? Oh my God, that's crazy. That's so cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's such a skill for sure.
It's fun. It's hard. And it's like the whole speaking up thing, it's really interesting because at first I was like, wait, I have to tell these people what to do? Like, oh my God, I'd rather not. But then I'm like, no, the only way that this is going to look the way I want it to look is if I tell them what to do. And I'm not like bitchy and mean about it, but you have to give direction. That's like, you're guiding the boat, you know?
Yeah. And they're all there to like support you. And I'm sure they're always more
than
happy
fun.
to.
Yeah. It's not like some like power trip thing. It's like very collaborative and we all work together. And I have people that I work with on a frequent basis that are so important to me and help me through so many different steps of it, like emotionally or logistically or just to bounce ideas off of. Yeah. So whenever we're all together, it's so fun, but it's still like, okay, we have to get done.
Yeah, still work. Yeah. But yeah, when you have the right people in place, like it just flows.
Oh, absolutely.
And they know that anytime you're giving direction, it's like, okay, we trust you. Like we get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. And tell me, I mean, I know it sounds like you and I both really love music videos. What are some of your like favorites just of all time? Like I know that's so hard and I can't even narrow it down to like one. So what are like a few?
I have a playlist on YouTube.
Really?
Of my all-time favorite music videos.
Okay, that's really cool.
I'm just going to look at it really quick because that's the only way that I'll be able to tell you exactly.
I know. There's so many and it's, you know, it's hard to just remember all of them. I should probably do that too.
Oh, it's so fun because then I look back and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I love this one so much. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So let's see. Let me think out of this list which one I really liked. Okay. Human by Sev Deliza. I don't think I'm saying her name right, but that music video, insane.
What's it about?
I don't even know. Honestly, she's like a centaur horse thing at some point, but all of her music is so powerful and like I feel like 5 steps ahead of whatever page the world is on. Like she's just amazing. So that's
super cool.
Definitely one of them. Let me see. Oh, all-time favorite music video ever, Nightmare by Halsey.
That music one video is really, really good.
It's so good. And I love it because she's showing so many different, I mean, this is probably why I love it, but so many different sides and versions of herself and what it means to be a woman. And you could be masculine or you could be super feminine or you could be leather and chain. Like, oh, it's so, I've watched that music video so many times and I'm like, wow.
Wow. I know.
Wow,
right?
I love that.
Yeah. She has such like a cool way of being like, this is what it means to be a woman. And also this is what it means. And this and this and this. Yeah. In a way that is so just like shameless. And I feel like gets some people like, but it's like, yeah, exactly. That's why we're having this conversation.
I'm like, if you're offended, you are most likely the problem. Like the people that get it are like, oh, wow, yes. Yeah. I mean, you don't even have to be a woman necessarily to understand what she's saying based off of how she's singing and how she writes her music. But I'm like, wow, I just love her.
Yeah, she is really, really cool.
I love her. Yeah. So that is like definitely all-time favorite music video.
That's very valid. So you have over 1 million Spotify streams.
I do.
Over 6 million views on YouTube. You've been featured on Netflix, HBO, BET, and a lot of other things. Like a lot. I was looking at like all of your like profiles today. I was like, oh my God, like that's absolutely nuts. So I guess with all of those like accolades and like all of these huge like numbers, it's important to like, I guess like take a moment and still like reflect like on the successes, because like I feel like after a while you're kind of like, oh, you know, there's like another you know, great thing that I've done. So what are like, I'd love to hear you like reflect on the last year or so, because I know that, you know, you don't have to do it like exactly 12 months, but like year or so, what are some of those moments that have kind of like stopped you, like benchmarks, I guess, and made you think like, oh my gosh, like I'm like actually doing it, you know?
Yeah. It's interesting because I have had so many great things happen. Yeah. But because of, I think, my mindset and perfectionism brain, I'm like, okay, great, next. Yeah. Okay, great, but I'm not doing that. Look at, she's doing that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah,
so, and
exactly.
I should be here and I should have more of this. So I'm learning, and it's so hard, but to like enjoy the journey and appreciate everything, and really, really appreciate everything that happens, because a lot of this stuff I would have never thought that I'd be doing it ever. Like some of the things I'm like, I have no idea how I got here, but I'm so happy to be here. Like all my like the placements that I get on like TV shows and movies and commercials, like that was a huge one this past year. Two of my songs were used for a Netflix like movie trailer date announcement. And I usually, like, not usually, but sometimes when you get placements, like there are people talking over it, like it's background music. This one was the first one where it was my song. Like there was no audio at all, like no dialogue, just my song. Yeah. And that I was sitting on the toilet and I was like, oh my God, like what? And because they don't tell you when you get placements, you either find out, like if you look on this one website that they have to like log everything in to basically cover their bases and the rights and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Or how I find out is people will comment on the videos on my YouTube channel, because I upload the songs like for that reason. They're like, oh, I came here from Netflix, blah, blah, blah. And so I've gotten a handful of those in the past. And so this time when someone commented that, I went to the video and I was like, okay, cool. Like, let me see what this one is, you know? And I watched it and I was like, no fucking way. No.
Yeah, when are they going to start talking?
Way. I'm like, this is crazy. I've never gotten anything for a movie or a trailer or anything of the sort. So that was a huge moment. And that like, really, I was like, okay, shut up, Mia. Like, you're doing it. Enjoy this.
It's hard. I get it.
Doing it, you know? So that was a huge one. The Roxy was a huge deal. That was a huge deal. And to headline it was an even huger deal, I guess. And just the way that came about, and the girl, so I opened up for an artist named M, and she we got coffee after, and she was like, yeah, I'm playing the Roxy in July, like I'm really excited and stuff. And I was like, oh my God, I'm like, I'm going to open up for her. I have to open up for her. So I made it my screensaver, all this stuff. And then she called me, her and her manager were like, hey, you know, how would you like to headline the show? And I was like, huh?
Oh my God.
I was like, okay, yes, I can do that. They're like, can you sell 100 tickets? And I was like, I can sell 200 tickets.
Yeah,
I can do this. Don't even worry. Like, I got you. So that was a huge, like, manifesting to real life to sort of thing. That was a really big deal. And then another one, I got my songs on Law and Order, and that's like the first network show that my music has been on. Yeah. And those pay significantly more than like Netflix and that kind of stuff. So that was a really exciting one, and like to tell my family and stuff, because some of the other shows are like dating shows or like more reality TV, but like my grandma knows about Law and Order. So I was like, oh, look at Law and Order. She's like, what? And I was like, yes, Law and Order, like the Law and Order.
That's crazy. Yeah,
so that was a really big thing. And there's so many other things that happen that I gloss over because it's just not good enough. But I mean, it's amazing. But for me, I'm like, okay, but how do I get to the next step? Like, how do I do more? So I'm really actively working on taking the time to soak all of it in and to be like, okay, I need to appreciate all of this, because this is what it's about. Yeah. It's about enjoying the moment right now, instead of being like, oh, but in 5 years, like, what am I going to do? It's like, who fucking knows?
I know. It is hard. And I feel exactly the same. Like when you're like working on achieving something, I get like laser focus. And then once I achieve it, I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay, on to the next thing. And it's like, you have to remember how you felt about that accomplishment at the very beginning, because you would have like died if you knew that you actually 100%. Did it.
Oh my God. Yeah.
But it's hard, because I feel like you're just, you know, like you have such high standards for yourself because you know what you're capable of. And then every time you achieve it, you're like, yeah, I knew I could do that. And now I'm going to do something even crazier. And then it just keeps continuing. It's like this endless ladder of like, yeah, whatever. Yes. And then at one point you kind of look back and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. Like me 5 years ago would have been like, oh my God, you are on, your music's on TV and you headlined the Roxy, like, and you're almost sold it out, like all this stuff. Me 5 years ago would be like, you made it, you did it. But me now, I'm like, no, I did it. Like, no, we didn't.
I got
like,
so much left to do.
There's so much to do, but it's really important to appreciate all of it, because that's how you last, I think.
Totally. Yeah. And it's always important too to like remind yourself, like, so many people would have thrown in the towel at a certain point, and all of those points you've just like pushed through, and like you have like the tenacity and that kind of mindset that you make it, you know? And we have to give ourselves a little gold star every once in a while. But it is hard.
Of course. That's what keeps you going. Yeah. So it's important. And there have been many moments where I've never been at the point where I'm like, I just can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I know, or I'm sure that at some point there will be things that happen where I'm like, fuck, I don't know. But I mean, there have been some really hard moments throughout my career that have been like, wow, okay, this is way more than I was expecting. But once I get through them, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I feel like I've earned like another notch on my belt, or whatever the saying is. So
it's true.
I love it, even though it's hard.
Yeah. Anything that is worth fighting for, it's a fight.
It is a fight. It is a fight.
It totally is.
Yeah.
Cool. And then I guess kind of to wrap up, do you have any upcoming shows that our listeners could come to see you?
I don't actually.
That's totally fine.
Yeah.
But you said that you sing at...
I sing at a restaurant.
If anybody wants to pop in.
Wants to come and have some pasta. It's really
I do.
Good. It's really good.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, but that's on my to-do list right now, is to set up and figure out those shows for this year and see what more I could do, and how much bigger I can make it, and all that kind of stuff.
Amazing.
But I'm just excited to go into this year with like solid music and solid people around me, and see where it goes, and trusting where it's going to go. Cause I'm a big like planner, organizer, have to be in control sort of person. And so I'm challenging myself and being like, okay, it's okay that I don't know when my next show is right now. Like, it's okay. You aren't failing and a terrible person because last year you already were rehearsing for a show. Like, I really am pushing myself to just let life take me.
It's a challenge. It totally is. Yeah. Good for you.
Thank you.
I think that's a really seriously good goal to have. That's great.
Definitely. Because I mean, there's so much that I'm constantly working on my career and craft, but if certain areas kind of get put aside for a little bit, it doesn't mean that they're done. It just means that while I'm working over here, something else will come in and fill that spot. So it's about trusting that everything happens for a reason, and you just gotta keep going.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. It's so true. And tell our listeners where they can find you on socials and streaming platforms.
Yeah. So everything is just my name. It's Mia Mormino, which you'll see on wherever.
I'll give them a visual.
Wherever in the caption or whatever. But yeah, so everywhere is just my name. And yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I had so much fun.
Me too.
Don't forget, Girls World is out February 2nd.
Yeah.
Yay! Thank you, Mia. I had so much fun.
Me too.